Hi everyone, this is Tom Inge coming to you on November 25th, 2025, otherwise known as Thanksgiving Day 2025. With the holidays upon us, I've got a special recipe recommendation to share. I'm reaching way back into the 2012 video archives from the Inge Kitchen, back when we were living in Cincinnati, Ohio. Today's feature is one of our all-time favorites, Iberian beef stew. So if you're getting a little bit tired of turkey leftovers, this is the perfect alternative. Give it a try. I think you'll agree it's the very best beef stew you've ever had. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Tom Inge in Hyde Park, Cincinnati. Today we're going to be making a most excellent beef stew. We call it the Iberian beef stew. Why Iberian beef stew? Because our friends from Spain gave us all the tricks to make this the most tasty beef stew you've ever put in your mouth. So, without further ado, let's get started with this Iberian beef stew. So now we've gotten our vegetables prepped, we got our potatoes cut, we got our onion and our cloves of garlic. And so the next step is just to go ahead and get everything together in the pan, fry it up in your pressure cooker. And that's the important part of this dish. It's got to be done with the pressure cooker because the pressure cooker really seals in the flavors and makes it as good as it can be. Let me show you that part. We're just sizzling up the garlic and the onions. We have 4 or 5 tablespoons of olive oil. We like the Trader Joe's Spanish extra virgin olive oil. It does a really good job. And so that's going to go ahead and fry on up in the bottom of the pan. And we got the beef over here in olive oil. It's also going to brown very nicely in this frying pan. Alright, we're browning up the beef. We're going to add a little salt to it. We have a most excellent hand model employed today in the Inge TV prep kitchens. That would be Mrs. Inge. And the beef is browning up, as you can see, in the olive oil. Extra virgin Spanish olive oil. We have no stock in this company, by the way. And it looks like the onions and garlic have done. Okay, so once the onions and the garlic have sauteed a bit and gotten a little brown, we're going to go ahead and fold in those carrots, and we're going to get them sauteed up a little bit. Here we go. Looks really good, doesn't it? Oh man, we got the sous chefs here. There's a little sous chef, and there's another sous chef. Okay, so now in one of the most important parts of the beef stew preparation. So this is an entire bottle of a nice Riesling, actually not a real nice Riesling, but a very inexpensive Riesling. Alright, browning up the potatoes here in the same pan that we just took the beef out of. And the reason for that is that it gives them a really nice little browned and beefy taste. And then they're actually not going to fry the potatoes. We'll just put them in the pan. No extra oil, no nothing. But we're just going to give them a little bit of that brown color on the side, and use a little bit of the brown in the bottom of the pan to make these potatoes nice and crisp and tasty before we put them over into the pressure cooker. And over here, we got the pressure cooker. It's actually one of these things that's very mysterious to me, always has been. My mom used to use the pressure cooker to can with and to preserve things with, but never once used it to actually make a meal. And what turns out is that you can actually use the pressure cooker to make a really gorgeous stew, like we're doing, and not can anything. You don't have to save it at all. You just eat it right up. That's the way we're going to use this pressure cooker, and we're going to tenderize this beef, and it's going to be awesome. You'll see in just a minute. So hear that? What that is that's the pressure coming up. We have this down on about 8.5 or so for starters, and then we're going to crank it back once we get a little steam going here and a little pressure going. And you can see here the pressure is coming up slowly with that stem rising. But then we'll crank it back down to about 5.5, 6 or so, and let it just go to town for just like maybe 14 minutes to get that beef nice and tender. All right, that's the sound of a pressure cooker that is at temperature. You can see the stem is elevated, right? So we're going to crank it back from 8 to about 6, and we're going to let that go for 14 minutes as it's whistling. And then once that's done, with 14 minutes, we're going to pop the potatoes in, which are browning up nicely, and we're going to have it as a nice stew. All right, so the potatoes have finished browning. We're going to pull them off here of the burner and just leave them set while that sound of the pressure cooker at temperature got that aroma of the Riesling with the alcohol burning off, but you got the whole bottle in there to give it just the most wonderful tasting secret ingredient to this stew that you can ever imagine. All right, so after 14 minutes at a pressure cook temperature, we've got the makings of a really tasty beef stew. The next step, of course, is to get the sous chef involved in putting this sous chef instead? Okay. Putting the potatoes and the peas into the beef stew. Let's go. How are you going to keep from splashing my camera is my question. Huh? All right, do your best. Okay. You're going to splash the floor instead. That's fine. Okay. Have at it. There's my sous chef. Okay. So, let's see what we got. All right. So, this goes to temperature for how long, Master Chef?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. While we get the bread garlicked and browned here. Gotta have the sourdough bread. And then we will be ready. All right, so here is the 100% completed stew. This is the Iberian stew prepared in the pressure cooker. We are about to eat the stew, and as you can see, there's not a whole lot of stew to go around, but it can be scaled up. By the way, I'll make one photo of the presentable plate once the stew has been served. Goodbye.